The winner is John Wayne in True Grit.
They called him the Duke, but few knew the empire he was quietly building behind the scenes. John Wayne wasn't just Hollywood's favorite cowboy. He was a man of calculated power, quiet moves, and unshakable ambition. Long after the cameras stopped rolling, his legacy would set off whispers across Hollywood. How much did he really leave behind? Who got what? And who was left out completely? The answers are shocking, and they're hidden in a story few have ever heard, until now. The Cowboy's Hidden Wealth.
Listen to me, you whining little whelp. You're gonna stop that stuttering or get the hell out of here. You're gonna stop it or go home, do you hear me?
To the public, John Wayne was the ultimate gunslinger, a larger-than-life hero riding into the sunset with grit and glory. But behind that tough cowboy persona was a man with a mind for business and a quiet obsession with control. Wayne knew that fame was fleeting, but money, if managed right, could outlive him. While most fans focused on his films, Wayne was making quiet but powerful moves. He purchased valuable real estate in Arizona and Washington, snapping up land that would appreciate over time. He also acquired multiple homes, personal properties, and business interests, many of which remained out of the public eye. These weren't just flashy buys. They were long-term plays meant to protect his fortune. But it wasn't all smooth riding. In the 1950s, Wayne made a costly mistake. He entrusted his finances to a man named Bo Roos, a business manager who led him into a disastrous investment scheme in Panama. Wayne lost over $1.7 million, a staggering amount at the time. Later, a second hit came when he allowed his daughter's husband, Donald LaCava, to handle financial matters. That too ended in ruin. Bills went unpaid, and Wayne found himself dangerously close to broke. Most stars would have crumbled, but not the Duke. After firing everyone who mishandled his money, Wayne took matters into his own hands. He scrutinized contracts, approved every deal, and avoided anything remotely risky. He focused on high-paying films, launched licensing deals, and quietly laid the groundwork for wealth that would last long after he was gone. By the end of his life, he had rebuilt his fortune but kept its true size tightly under wraps. And yet, when he died in 1979, no one expected what was written in that will. The will that shocked Hollywood. When John Wayne passed away in 1979, fans mourned a film legend. But behind the scenes, attorneys and family members were poring over a document that would shake the industry, his last will and testament. It wasn't just a final goodbye, it was a blueprint of power, protection, and pointed decisions. Wayne's estate was valued at around $7 million, which today would equal more than $25 million. But it wasn't just the number that turned heads, it was how meticulously the money was divided. His will wasn't a standard handout. It was sharp, deliberate, and loaded with emotional weight. All 7 of his children were remembered, each receiving financial support and deeply personal items, objects tied to their memories of their father. His first wife, Josephine, was even granted a lifelong trust fund. Though they had long since divorced, Wayne made sure she was secure. It was a rare, dignified gesture that spoke to the respect he still held for her. But then came the shock. Pilar Palet, his third wife and mother of 3 of his children, received nothing. Though the two had been living separately for years, the complete exclusion from the will was a public reminder of how far they'd grown apart. Still, legal documents showed that their financial separation had already been settled, but the omission stung. Even more jaw-dropping was the ironclad clause regarding his son-in-law, Donald LaCava. Not only was LaCava left out, but Wayne explicitly barred him from ever accessing his daughter's inheritance, even if she passed away. Her money would go to her children or a trustee of her choice. Never LaCava. This wasn't just about wealth, it was about trust, or the lack of it. A calculated move like that left many wondering, what exactly did LaCava do to lose the Duke's trust? The legacy business. Wayne Incorporated. John Wayne may have died in 1979, but his name never did. In fact, his family took it and built something even bigger than anyone expected, a modern-day empire. They didn't just inherit money, they inherited a brand. A brand rooted in rugged independence, traditional values, and the unmistakable image of a man who stood for something. What began as a tribute to their father soon became a sprawling business called John Wayne Enterprises, a company that manages licensing, merchandising, and partnerships across industries. And it's no small operation. From streaming royalties to physical products, the Wayne brand is everywhere. One of the family's most successful ventures is Wayne Family Estates, a wine label that captures the rustic elegance of Western living. But that's just the start. There are grilling tools, Western-style apparel, home goods, and collectible memorabilia, all carefully designed to reflect the Duke's all-American legacy. These aren't gimmicks. The Wayne family is deeply involved in maintaining the quality and purpose behind everything they attach his name to. Each product, each campaign, is run through a strict filter. Would John approve of this? If not, it doesn't move forward. The result is a brand that feels timeless, not trendy. While many celebrity estates fizzle out or go cheap for a quick buck, the Wayne family has gone in the opposite direction, slower, smarter, and with a mission. They've turned his legacy into a long-term business that connects with both older fans and younger generations just discovering his story. But the heart of that mission isn't just profit, it's purpose. Because while the Wayne Empire thrives today, it's built on something far more personal, a promise made during one of the most difficult chapters in his life. But behind the family-friendly branding lies a more personal mission, one inspired by Wayne's final battle: cancer, courage, and a dying wish. In 1956, John Wayne stepped onto the set of The Conqueror in the Utah desert. What he didn't know then was that the location had been downwind from nuclear test sites. The air was thick with radioactive dust, invisible and deadly. Years later, the consequences became chillingly clear. Out of the 220 cast and crew, 91 developed cancer. Nearly half died from it. Wayne was among them. He fought lung cancer first in the 1960s, undergoing surgery that removed a lung and several ribs. Despite the trauma, he returned to work with barely a word to the press. Years later, he was diagnosed again, this time with stomach cancer. Through it all, he never made his illness a headline, never played the victim. Instead, he stayed strong, stoic, just like the roles he portrayed on screen. But beneath that strength, he was planning something deeper. Before his death, John Wayne had one final request for his family: use his name to fight cancer. He didn't want pity, he wanted action. And from that wish came the John Wayne Cancer Foundation, an organization dedicated to early detection, research funding, and public awareness. The foundation doesn't just carry his name, it carries his values. Through golf tournaments, educational outreach, and the now well-known Block Cancer campaign, the Duke's legacy reaches beyond entertainment. It reaches into hospitals, classrooms, and communities, helping people fight battles of their own. In the end, Wayne gave the world more than just classic films or a fortune. He gave it a mission, something enduring, something real. His greatest gift might not have been what he left in his will, but what he inspired after death. His greatest gift might not have been what he left in his will, but what he inspired after death. The dynasty that still earns millions. Over 40 years after his death, John Wayne's legacy is still making money. A lot of it. His voice may be silent, but his brand continues to speak, on screens, in stores, and through everything it stands for. Wayne's classic films, from True Grit to Stagecoach and The Searchers, are still broadcast, streamed, and sold globally. Every time someone presses play or buys a Blu-ray, royalties flow straight into the estate. As one source put it, the foundation for Wayne's charitable initiatives was initially funded by residuals and royalties from Wayne's films and licensing agreements. The Wayne brand has turned into a global symbol of Americana. Cowboy hats, mugs, posters, t-shirts, home decor, if it carries rugged, no-nonsense energy, fans want it. The family has kept control over licensing deals, ensuring the John Wayne legacy isn't just something to remember, it's something to live. Behind the scenes, the business remains sharp. The estate owns valuable real estate holdings, land and properties that have appreciated over time. Combine that with smart investments, stocks, business funds, and the winery venture, and you get a portfolio that continues to grow. It's not a static inheritance, it's an evolving engine of wealth and influence. Today, the Wayne name isn't just a tribute, it's an economic force, managed like a family dynasty. Even now, the Duke's name earns millions. But perhaps the biggest surprise? How that fortune reshaped the future of the Wayne family forever. Because when the cowboy rode off into the sunset, he didn't just leave behind memories, he left a legacy built to last. John Wayne didn't just build a career, he built a legacy that continues to grow, inspire, and generate millions. From the dusty sets of westerns to carefully planned business ventures and a will that still sparks debate. The Duke's story is one of power, planning, and purpose. His fortune reshaped his family's future, but his true wealth was the empire he left behind. If this glimpse into John Wayne's hidden fortune blew your mind, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more incredible stories behind Hollywood's biggest legends. And don't miss the next video. It's one you'll never forget.